fearful of something that really makes me want to take the leap even more.
Guts, grit.
Guts.
Yeah,
Grit. Grit and guts
I like that.
is my New York Times
I
billboard.
like that.
I was going to say that's mine, but okay, Aditi and Amit's answer is the same.
I've stolen it. I've stolen
I
it.
was
Grit
I
and
was going to
guts.
say be yourself, but anyway.
Hi, and welcome to Indian Explorers. In this podcast, we talk about Indian success stories. I am Sabrina, and together with my co host Amit, we will get to understand the journey of our guests and what drives them. The optimism, patience, idealism, and courage, these are their attributes which we hope to bring to life in our conversations with them. So if you enjoy the show, please hit the subscribe button and share it with others. Hello, how are you? I see
Good, Sabrina.
a new accessory you have.
It's cool, huh? You like
Yeah,
it?
it makes you look tough.
You know what? I am tough, Sabrina. Real tough.
Okay.
Sabrina, how many years have you been married to Noel?
22 years married.
22 years. Wow. Yesterday was my 15 years anniversary since my first date with Chandini.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Yeah.
say couldn't have been marriage because I was pregnant at your wedding.
Yeah.
So since dating, we've been together 29 years.
Wow.
So we have a
That's an
lot to teach
eternity.
you young
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah. No, see, October 27th was the wedding day, but
Hmm.
May 1st was our first dinner at at a really nice Japanese restaurant in Bombay,
Okay.
at the Taj Hotel. And then 3 years later, on May 1st, 2012, I proposed straight after dinner at the same restaurant.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Same day?
So,
The same day.
yeah, I proposed on May 1st, 3
Okay.
years later. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, for us, the emotional connect or the emotional anniversary is May 1st. You know,
Okay. So
not the,
what'd you do last night?
or in terms of everything. Oh, I had one son throwing up from 2 to 4 in the morning,
Okay.
and the other son had mucus, as if just breathing mucus was coming out all over. It's the cutest thing ever. I want to just record those videos and post them on Instagram. Will be an instant
This is
success.
a happy marriage,
You know what?
right?
So okay. So I asked her, what do you want
Yeah.
for your, your birthday's coming up, and she goes, Amit, I'm going to be 50 soon. I said, in
Is
October.
she even 40?
I said, in October you turn 40, honey. She goes, exactly. That's why I'm turning 50 soon. I was like, I'm turning 50 in 3 years' time, and I'm like excited about it. And here's a lady who's not even 40 and is depressed about it.
You know
Like,
what? Let me talk to her and let her know what happens about 6 months after you turn 40 and you're like, whoa, things are changing physically, you know?
yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if you felt changes,
Um, I felt it for a few years now. You know,
right?
yeah,
But
I
it's
started
after
to
you turn
age.
40.
Uh,
I
I
mean, I
think
still
after,
feel good, but you do feel a difference, once you hit 40.
yeah, I think I'm more tired as
Yeah.
opposed to physical
That
when
may
I
also be having 3 children under the age of 10.
yeah, probably,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, it's a good thing to be married for 15 years or 12
Absolutely.
years officially.
Yeah.
So, uh,
Congratulations. That's
thank you,
fantastic.
thank you, Sabrina. I wanted to share a story with you today.
Go for it.
Something that after watching all these college protests going on in America, and incarcerating young students who are protesting. Granted, some of them are crossing the red line and violence. I don't want to talk about that today. I find that a little bit boring.
That's why I wore my
Um,
love shirt. See?
Great. So speaking of love, I
Okay.
want to read something to you that came across on Twitter today. When I say I came across, I think everybody in the Twitter world came across it. It's this entrepreneur called Nick Gray, not
Okay.
particularly famous. He's at a couple of startups, young guy.
Okay.
So he writes, I want to do a blind date and go to Tokyo next weekend. If you're a woman with a passport who likes sushi and Japanese food and can ride a bike in a big city, let's go. I'll pay for everything, but in return, you have to film stupid videos of me for my socials. More info here, or DM me, or email me. And he
Okay,
puts a
so this
Google
guy
Doc.
is a pretty well off
I mean,
entrepreneur.
he's sold a couple of startups. He's reasonably well known in the tech
Okay, you said
community.
young. About how old?
He looked to me early 30s.
Okay.
Yeah. So then he puts possible itinerary. He puts on his document the logistics. We will fly on 24th April from the USA. Um, you know, I'll get you a hotel room. Some friends and I bought a small apartment near the neighborhood. I'll stay in an apartment, but I'll get you your hotel room. All I ask is I reserve the right to come use your hotel gym. Um,
What an
that's not
idiot.
the that's not the crazy bit, Sabrina. The crazy bit is that he got over 400 people interested,
Only, but
right?
see, only 400.
Yeah, only 400. I mean, again,
I think that's a low number.
he's not Zuckerberg, right? He's not a known guy. He doesn't have that many people following him.
Okay, arguably good looking guy.
Um, I'm clicking on him now. I never seen his look. Oh, yeah, yeah. He seems like a
Okay.
good-looking guy. Yeah, bit of a
Okay.
yeah. Seems like a good guy. Okay, so the funny thing was not that. The funny thing was the amount of people that have followed him since, and he's been posting now pictures of him and the girl. So the date's going quite well, and the responses are, one guy wrote, "Hey, I have the perfect person, my sister." Another one, another woman wrote, "But why economy? That's a deal breaker for me. Make it business."
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
another another woman wrote, now another person, I don't know if it's a woman or not, wrote, "Why a woman? Why are you discriminating? I want to come." Yeah. And the funniest one of all is, "I'm a woman, dot dot dot. I love sushi, dot dot dot, but I'm married. I hope that's not a deal breaker."
That's a good one.
Oh, it's brilliant. So
But he
now,
picked a woman, and so, and I have to. I mean, is she like drop dead gorgeous, or
so I'm looking at the pictures now that he's posted on with this woman. She is beautiful.
yeah?
Um, she seems like the girl next door in terms of pretty. She's not that like that hot sex appeal.
Okay.
She looks like a beautiful woman,
Okay.
and you can tell by his messages that he's really into her, and the way he writes everything that happened in the day and how he said bye to her, the goodbye hug, how he asked us to stay another day extra and he was nervous about it, but she said, "Sure, why not? Let's do another day." And how they're still in touch. They obviously don't talk about hooking up, or everyone's like egging him on to like propose, marry her. It's just been a beautiful story that's happened on Twitter, and a guy just basically just shot his shot,
Yeah.
and
Could you
I just think
imagine if this turns into like a long time like love story?
I won't be surprised. But my point is that not everything bad on the internet, things are positive as well in the world. And
Yeah.
after everything that's happening with Trump, Biden, and the whole world, to just read the story of the last week
That's
has
cool.
just
I need
kept
to check that
me.
story out.
Yeah, his name is Nick Gray.
Okay.
You know what? We'll put his Twitter handle on the show notes. I
Okay.
just thought it
Very
was
cool.
uplifting to say the least. I
Yeah.
would watch the NBA games, and in between I check Twitter to find out if anything's happening.
How cool.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
I thought it
very
was
cool.
cute.
I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what? I know we talked about maybe discussing the protests at the university campuses, but I don't want to even talk about that now after that story.
yeah, yeah.
I think
Fair
everyone
enough.
has their opinion, and we'll see what
Yeah,
happens and move on from that.
I actually bring up also the restaurant that I went with Chandani to propose. The restaurant
Okay.
is called Wasabi.
Okay.
Everyone in Bombay or everyone in India knows this restaurant. It's actually not that great sushi. Um, it's overpriced, and I bring it up because our guest today actually owns a restaurant, so
Correct.
it'd be good to get
Yes,
her
one that
opinion.
I really need to just, if there's any reason to go to India right now, it's to eat there. So let's bring her on.
Let's do that.
We have Aditi Dugar. She is a very special guest from Mumbai. She is an entrepreneur behind the most successful restaurant in India, Masque. Masque is anchored by innovation and veering away from the tired and tested. With a focus on science to propose unique flavor combination, Masque's expertly crafted tasting menus are testimony to the modern gastro gastronomical talent prevalent in Mumbai. She has won a string of accolades since opening Mask in 2016, from the One to Watch Award in 2020 to entering Asia's 50 Best Restaurants in 2021 as the first female to do so, and reaching the Best Restaurant in India status in 2023. I am hungry and I love learning about your restaurant. Welcome.
I'd like to correct that a little bit. We've been best restaurant in India for the
Please.
last 3 years. So 22,
Oh,
23, and
well, I need to go on
24.
the internet and change that. Congratulations. That is
Yes.
fantastic. And I mentioned before we started recording, I haven't been to India in a long time. My parents go often, but I haven't been. Maybe I was waiting for my daughter to be a little older. She's 11 now, and my first stop is going to be Mask.
Yes, you're missing out.
I am.
Aditi, welcome to the show. Why don't you start off by telling us where did the idea, the concept behind Mask? Maybe you can explain it to our audience, please.
So the concept of Masque, I'm actually a banker. I started out a catering company with my mom while I was taking a little sabbatical, raising my children. And it was, I think, a very happy accident that I was helping my mom while she was like, sort of holding these cooking classes at home, and I was helping her professionalize her setup, and only to realize that how much I love food. And I kind of took over her business, grew the catering company to scale, to realize that I needed to move into a larger commissary, and I couldn't function from home. We were catering anywhere from like 2 to 400 people from a home kitchen. And, it just, I think we were really catering in to a gap because we were a vegetarian catering company. And, I think that we were so innovative with what we were doing with vegetarian cuisine that it became like a household name in no time. The catering company was called Urban Gourmet back then, which we then changed the name to Sage and Saffron in 2012 or 13. And Mars came along in 2016 because I realized that there was a huge gap in the fine dining space in India, and my catering audience was already like, we were doing a lot of like sit down dinners, cooking lots of special meals, and I saw that there was a huge demand. And the idea of Mask was then born in 2016.
I love it. You didn't have any formal training in cooking or
No,
being a chef, correct?
no. But I have
Fantastic.
worked in a lot of
It was
kitchens. I've just been a big food enthusiast my whole life, and I've worked in a lot of kitchens. Every time we'd holiday, I'd like, hound the chef to let me into the kitchens. I've worked like everywhere from like La Gavroche to done some stints at La Petite Maison, Zuma, worked with a street food specialist in Thailand with my mom. So I've done a lot of training off and on, just out of enthusiasm and for the love of food, but no formal training.
But,
okay.
but why think about a 10-course fine dining experience as opposed to, I don't know, a regular wasabi, the table, like a regular menu? How did you come across that idea?
I think because when I went to San Sebastian with my husband, I think that we had the most magnificent dining experiences. And I think I was so inspired from that trip that when I came back, um, I knew that I needed to do something in the fine dining space. I started out actually with the catering company where we started doing a lot of like 360-degree experiences with from setting the table to personalizing the menu to doing a lot of sit down dinners. And, my guests would say, oh, I ate this dish at Per Se, or I had this at 11 Madison Park. Do you think you can replicate an experience we had at Alinea? Can you do like a live dessert on the table? And then that's when I realized that people were really there was a huge gap in offering a dining experience in India. Like everybody went to an a la carte restaurant, but even when you go to an a la carte restaurant, typically you'd always ask the chef's favorite, or, chef's pick, or like what the waiter recommends. So actually, you're kind of opting for a tasting menu in that sense, because you're always going by what's recommended. And, I was always like, I grew up in a large joint family. I come from with a lot of chaos. And for us, like, because being from a Jain household, we there were only very few things always on the table, and we had to finish our meal. We weren't given too many choices of cuisine, or like, we had to eat what was made, because there were like, I was 15, we had I had 15 first cousins in my house. So I also grew up eating very consciously. And I think that when I thought about the idea of a restaurant, I always thought about waste. And and I just thought that the tasting menu is also makes you less wasteful as a restaurant, because you're really prepping for the diners that are coming in, or as per the dietary restrictions, everything can be more curated. And for me, that that idea of that kind of restaurant was very exciting in my head. Also, I wanted to do something that didn't exist. I come from a finance background, and I'm a big risk taker.
Yeah. One of the unique things about Mask is the ingredients you use and the quality. Tell us about that, because that was what was very interesting to me.
So I think that when I started Mask, I met a chef in my journey whose name is Pratik Sadhu. He used to be the head chef of Mask. Now we've parted ways. He has a restaurant called Nar in Himachal. But when we started Mask, he's from Kashmir, and he trained at Noma for a few months. And when our paths crossed, we had a lot of like similar ideology of being excited about ingredients. I'm from Rajasthan. We cook cuisine out of very little and make it into beautiful dishes. And he, from being from the mountains, was very, very excited about produce all the time. So we decided to travel through India and see what India had to offer. And I think when Mars started out, I think that was a clear focus, was to make it a very ingredient centric restaurant with produce from India. Everybody spoke about India and as an agricultural land, about the terroir, but there was no focus, or nobody was spotlighting ingredients in restaurants. And we really thought that that can become our USP. And that's really, the idea of traveling through India was very exciting. We would travel like miles to find like, a lemon from Rampur, or we're the first ones that found chocolate from Pondicherry and got it to the restaurant as like whole bars. So we did,
That's
I think we
cool.
were the first like to find olive oil from Rajasthan. And I think discovering these kind of ingredients in India was like, it was mind boggling even for us.
And
That's so neat.
I wanted to ask you, like, now that the chef has changed, now Varun, fellow
Yes,
Sindhi, Sabrina and I are both Sindhi, so we're
yes.
rooting for him. How has the menu changed having a new chef like Varun? What has he brought to the table?
So Varun's been kind of the from our opening team. So he's been there since we laid the first bricks at Mask. So he's very much been part of the family since day one. Um, so I think that growing from a commie chef to a head chef today, I think that what he brought to the table was a lot of hunger, a lot of like he's a Bombay boy, like you rightly said, Sindhi Bombay boy. He's CIA trained. He's worked in a couple of places internationally. He really knows the pulse of the city and the pulse. He's kind of seen the whole journey of the restaurant, all the ups and downs, the mistakes we've made. And I think that since he took reins, he's taken the restaurant to a whole new level. And I
Do
think the
you still
foods
have?
also
I read you
changed.
had a. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I think
Go ahead.
also
Go
the
ahead.
foods changed. The foods changed because Varun is so strong in cuisine, he's so strong on flavor, and he has the ability to really combine. his sensibility from like combining flavors or ingredients from the north, south, east, west. And I think his cuisine is more focused on really borrowing from tradition to build modern Indian cuisine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I tell you guys my experience at Mask? Um, I'm not a fine dining kind of guy, right? So I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't looking forward to this 3 hour dinner experience. The plus, I went with a very good group of friends. We were eight of us, and actually it surprised me. I mean, the level of service was impeccable. The way they explained not just what wine they're serving and why they're serving this wine with this particular dish. uh, it was all very well planned, and they explained the materials. They were well groomed, and they never interrupted us. And food wise, I didn't enjoy all of it. But then I think with 10 different dishes, I don't know, some people did in my table. I particularly loved the duck sausages, which I've never had before. I thought that was impeccable. And I liked that at the end, the guy came around and said, I noticed you had not only your duck sausage, but you had others as well. I can get you some more. And I was like, yeah, I'm more of a McDonald's kind of guy where I just go and eat burgers and. So I'm not the right customer for fine dining, but I must admit, I was pleasantly surprised. We had a great time. The wine was excellent. And I wanted to ask you, which is your favorite dish? Since you are the owner, uh, and what influence did you have in making sure that dish is
So,
in the menu?
how many years ago did you dine?
Uh, I was there in January. So it's May. So 5 months ago?
5 months ago. And
Yeah.
was
And
that the
and I
first
liked
time you dined
also,
at Mars? First
yes,
time you
first
dined
time.
at Mars?
And also, yeah, and I also went in the kitchen. I think one of the dishes, the you actually see the team of chefs prepare it, and in front of
Correct.
you, I don't know what it was called. And then right there and then you take a picture, and everything is like spotless, so it's very clean. And that also helped, with the experience. And we have a lovely photograph in WhatsApp, from the eight of us, and we were just all laughing and drinking. And I like the fact that that kitchen experience wasn't the first dish, so we were down a couple of bottles before we went in the kitchen. So a few jokes are coming up, and your team, even though they were professional, also humored us. They played
Yes.
with us. They knew it was a dining experience for us. It wasn't just like quiet people in the kitchen, like clean hands. I felt like I was with friends. So I thought the experience and the ambiance just elevated the experience, and I recommend it to everybody who's not been now.
Amazing. So, so happy to hear. And actually, obviously because you hadn't been there before, but did you feel that it's quite Indian, like the restaurant? Like, what was your take on the food?
No, I felt I was in Upper Manhattan. I felt I was in a high end place, right from the lighting, the spacing, the quality of the furniture. It wasn't a crowded restaurant like in India. I couldn't hear what my neighbor was saying. I couldn't even see them. I was so engrossed in my own experience that I felt I was just with these eight people, and it was an intimate experience. The lighting was quite dark, so it wasn't like bright in like a Indian typical restaurant. And don't get me wrong, I love
No, no,
royal
no.
china and the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like I was in Bombay. No. In terms of the food, there were a couple of things which I'd never tasted before, which were from Goa or Rajasthan or somewhere up there. But you know, for me, the experience was what made the food even better, personally.
You keep saying
Amazing.
experience, which is what I got from everything I read. But when I looked it up, it popped up that the price of the 10 dish experience was about 5,200 rupees. Is that
No,
accurate
I think
or
it's
more?
less.
No, it's
I
it's
Is
think it
it's
was
that
four.
it's
I think it
correct.
was like 3750 or 4,000. Oh, it's
No,
50.
so
no. It's
5,200,
it's
which
5,200.
translated to converted, so converted to about $62 US dollars? I was like, That's quite
cheap.
affordable for fine dining.
Yeah, but
That
it's also
wasabi I mentioned to
India.
you earlier.
Yeah,
No,
but
but
what I hear now about India is like these trendy restaurants are becoming quite pricey. Not at New York prices, but almost there. So I was like, "Oh wow, that's fantastic."
no,
but
but Sabrina,
but
5,200
actually,
is double a good restaurant in India.
It's
It's
double
half of,
a double a restaurant. That's true.
yeah,
That's true.
it's half of wasabi, but that's just high end sushi at a five-star hotel. But 5,200 is a solid price. It's not
Got it.
for the mass.
but
Yeah,
also,
Yeah.
yeah, and
got it.
also if you start adding on like cocktails and wine, you'll probably end up
Yeah.
spending about 120.
Yeah. Right, right. I guess now in the US, eating out is just, $120 per person is just going down to
Olive
a
Garden.
local restaurant. Olive
Olive.
Garden, really, it really is.
Sorry, Aditi, did you answer the question I asked about your favorite dish?
Oh, no.
I don't think you
Oh,
did.
my favorite dish. So, the menu changes at Masque every 3 to 4 months. So with the season, we also change the
Okay.
menu. So it's not the same menu year round. And the entire menu changes. It's not like only some of the dishes go off the menu. Even like, the highlight of that menu may change fully. But having said that, the cacao
Okay.
dessert is the only one that has kind of become, a signature, at least I would say for now on Varun's menu, is that he's kept the cacao dessert and he's been doing it in different variations in every menu of his.
Wow.
Very cool.
I couldn't have dessert after the nine other meals. It was too much. Nine
Nine
other
other dishes.
courses. Yeah.
Aditi, do you still have a farm in Pune where you grow the produce um for your restaurant?
So it's a partner farm. We had kind of tied up or collaborated on a couple of the poly houses when we opened Mask, but now we just source from this farm. We don't have any poly houses that we have there anymore, but they're one of our
Okay.
biggest sources.
Okay. Any thoughts of opening a restaurant in another part of the world?
Or mask
I
too.
mean, we'd love to. We'd love to. I mean, we're thinking about it.
What's stopping
It'll
you?
be
Okay.
some version of Mask, but not maybe the exact same format, but some version of it.
Okay.
London, Dubai, New York. You heard it here
I
first.
mean,
Which city?
yeah. I think Singapore was on the cards last year, but we kind of killed that idea. But I think now we're looking at, I mean, anything sounds exciting, London, Dubai, or New York. We're exploring.
Even even I read well, I was just there Vegas. Vegas has some of the best restaurants in the world too now.
I mean, yeah,
That's
50
What,
Best is
Vegas.
what's
happening in
what's stopping
Vegas
you?
this year. What's stopping us? I think that, we
Oh,
keep, yeah, World's 50 Best is happening in New York, in Vegas this year,
in
in
Vegas.
June. Yeah.
Okay.
What's stopping us? I think finding the right local partner. We're looking for like the
Okay.
right investor, like right local partner, because I mean, obviously, we need somebody who's going to have similar mindsets to us to be able to operate the brand. I mean, of course, we're going to be running it and operating it, but we still need a local partner who can kind of, run the operations with us.
Okay. You mentioned the world's 50 best restaurants. You're on the female advisory board, correct?
So, no, how it works is that when you're part of a 50 Best event, all the female that are part of that celebration would be invited to be part of a female advisory board to exchange ideas, to talk about like the challenges or, sort of like your victories in the hospitality world. So, it's just a
Okay,
breakfast and
got
it's a
it.
roundtable discussion. It's a breakfast and a roundtable
Got it.
discussion.
You know, I shook my head when I read that you were the first female to win Asia's 50 Best Restaurant Award
First Indian,
because
first
I
Indian
thought
restaurateur.
for and first was it first female as well or no?
No, first Indian restaurateur, first female Indian restaurateur to be on 50 best list.
Okay. First female Indian.
Yes.
Okay, got it. I just thought, as first female Indian, back in the day, previous generations, it was like women are cooking, women are cooking, women are cooking, you know? And so to be the first, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and I think that Indian cuisine is really getting its spotlight like never before.
Yeah,
And it's very exciting to play this small part on such a global scale.
absolutely.
I need to understand, Aditi. You've got world's best 50 restaurants. You've got Condé Nast travel publications. You've got Michelin stars. Like there seems to be a lot of awards in this
Too
category of
many awards.
F&B, which is the
We
one
can't
that,
keep up ourselves.
yeah, which is no, which is the Oscar. What about the Michelin star? Is that something you aspire to be a Michelin star restaurant?
Yes, I think every restaurant or restaurateur would want a Michelin. I think that's probably the Oscar and as well as 50 best. I think being on a world's 50 best list, Michelin star are really the Oscars.
And is there anything you can do to put yourself in that, nomination,
So
or do they just, yeah?
Michelin hasn't come to India. Like I think the tourism board has to invite Michelin to their country. So Michelin hasn't even come to India.
Oh,
Oh,
wow!
wow. Well, you might be the first when they finally do.
Especially after this episode.
I hope.
Yeah.
Aditi, we ask all our guests what their definition of success is. I'd love to hear yours.
That it's crazy to think that the journey, of course, the journey this far has been most satisfactory, and of course has got me a lot of success. But I don't think that it's still like success for me, because there's so much to do, and every day is so much learning, and there's so much more to achieve. But I think that for me, the idea of success is that the team I've built, the family that I've built, the support system, the people in my journey, literally from starting out with one employee, today I'm at 180 employees. And I think that, that for me to be able to empower, so many young people that have grown along with me, I would say that have literally grown along my side. But for me, that's been sort of the most successful thing for me, to be able to grow in such short time, and to empower so many people along the way.
That's fantastic. When you came up with this concept, what was your mindset? Was it, you know what, this is a good business idea? Did you even imagine, this longevity? I mean, I'm sure you hoped for it, but did you imagine all these accolades? What was your mindset when you first started?
I think that the mindset was very clear. I knew that, with this restaurant, like we're going to be so disruptive that it is going to get us, all the accolades and all the PR and all the press and all the attention. Like I just knew it because there was nothing like this ever done before. And I think that I was more confident because every restaurateur or everybody I spoke to dissuaded me from venturing into this concept, which made it more clear that I'm going to
Yeah,
be such a disruptor when I do it.
I love that.
Everybody, like right from like family members to like colleagues or like peers in the hospitality world, everybody's thought that I was crazy. A, to do something like this in India, and B, like it's never going to make money. And also the location for Masque is like, it's such a discreet location,
Yeah,
and a successful restaurant formula is always about
location.
the location, location, location. And everything was the opposite for Masque. But
It was scary to enter.
and today, yeah, it was very
Dark
scary.
and
It was
scary.
nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It was dark and scary. But I think that was the most exciting thing, that it was so challenging, that just made going to work so fun. Building the right people, the right crazy people, part of the team. I think that every single person that works in my organization is a little crazy. So to, you know,
Well, you have
to
to be
have that
crazy
formula,
to break the mold, and you've broken so
yes.
many of them,
Yeah.
so
And that's what's really exciting. And today we have 9 spaces in the mill. I mean, of course, everything isn't a frontage. Of course, we have Masque Lab, but I also have my catering company that operates from that mill. I have my storage unit there. When I launched the bakery, I launched it from that mill. And now I'm opening 2 more projects in that mill that are going to be quite amazing and huge.
are those
And
restaurants?
I've just
The two new projects are restaurants
Yes,
as
one
well.
one is a bar, and
Okay.
one is like a pizzeria and
Ugh,
bakery.
I think they're
pizza,
going to
the way to
change
my heart.
they're going to change the name of the mill to the Dugar
Yes.
mill.
My kids, it's so funny, Amin, that you say this because my kids call it the Dugar
Dugar
Mill.
mill. Yeah, yeah.
How funny. What is,
Speaking,
oh, I was just going to ask, other than India, and I don't even know if it's Indian food, but what is your favorite cuisine, your go-to cuisine?
that was in my rapid fire, Sabrina.
Thai
Oh,
food.
is it
I love Thai.
Thai? Okay.
I love Thai food and Rajasthani food. I love
Okay.
Rajasthani food.
Okay. I have lots of questions as well. I want to know about the Masque Lab. But before we talk about the Masque Lab and what that is that you just mentioned, I have 3 kids under 10. All 3 are boys. You have 3 boys under 18. So I need some advice here. More important than the pod. Life lessons. How do you handle everything that you do? I'm an entrepreneur as well, and take care of 3 growing adults. What's the secret
I
sauce?
mean, I have a life partner who's contributed in every step of the way, whether it's the business or at home. So, I mean, that's really a plus for me. And I think the other thing is that I just don't look their way. I always look the other way. I'm always looking in the other direction. Like even like, while they growing up, they were like somebody was doing somersaults from the sofa, somebody was somersaulting from the table, and my friends would literally have their heart in their mouth, and we just like, don't look, just don't look, ignore them.
That is the best parenting
So
advice.
Honestly,
yeah,
it
so
works. It works. Yeah.
it really works.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm just that kind of personality, that I'm a very positive person, and I don't ever think of the wrong. I'm always thinking that all the right things are happening for me, and just things have just fallen into place.
Okay.
That's
That's
great.
great.
I love the
Mask
attitude.
Mask Lab. What is the lab?
Masque Lab. So the lab was conceptualized in 2018, and the whole idea of the lab was that, of course, like masks suddenly had garnered all this fame, and the whole idea of like a private seating in India, like where can I have a private meal, or where can I, the more you spend on the meal, like people want to have it in a more private location, and even though the restaurant was so private and so discreet, but people still wanted, like, oh, is there a private dining room in your restaurant? And I think that that's what really sort of kind of we realized that we wanted to build a lab which could become a private space, and could be a chef's table, but at the same time we could really double down on what we were doing at Mask, and it could also be a very experimental space where we preserve ingredients in its prime, and we preserve them either by fermentation or pickling, and it can become like an experimental place where we're really experimenting with ingredients, and that would feature either on while we're doing an experimental dinner at the lab, or it could even feature, and some of those ideas can come through the restaurant menu. And over time the lab also became a place where we started inviting a lot of people to come cook at the lab who we'd want to get inspired by, a home chef from Nagaland, or somebody who's cooking Saraswat cuisine. And we started inviting like these home chefs, who were kind of building on like storytelling and building on their strengths and their cuisine and their recipes from their grandmother's kitchen, and we started inviting them to come cook at Masque Lab because it gave us a lot of ideas on contextualizing, more about Indian food. Because I mean, Indian food hasn't even been documented enough, and those gave us more insights into techniques from different regions and traditions and cuisine,
Sounds like an
and a
innovation
more
center.
in-depth
Yeah.
analysis of, yeah. So it's almost like it's, and this weekend we have a Singapore ambassador. His name is Renji Wong. He's cooking at Masque Lab this weekend, and he's cooking Singaporean cuisine, but it's all inspired from like Peranakan recipes and so much tradition and storytelling. That also, and he's an Indophile, and he's been living in India the last 4 or 5 years, and he's a great photographer, and he's traveled through India like probably more than anybody that's lived here long enough that's traveled. And it's amazing that when he is cooking at the lab, the way he's looking at India through his lens, it gives us so many more ideas.
Yeah, of
So
course.
these kind of collaborations at the lab is it's really a great exchange of knowledge and a great platform.
That's awesome.
So cool. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so impressed.
Yeah. Aditi, if you don't mind, we're gonna go into the rapid fire round where Sabrina and I will just shoot some random questions. If you can, give us your first thought and keep it short so we can be respectful of your
Yes.
time. Sabrina, why don't you start?
Sure. If you could travel back in time, which era would you visit?
uh, I would say the 1960s,
Okay.
and I clearly remember because my grandmom, like she had like every possible like Chanel or Dior glasses. They had like these big hats. My mom's side of family had just moved into the UK, and they'd come back like they were so fashionable in their saris and like short blouses, but so fashionable,
Oh, that's
like deep
cool.
cut backs and yeah.
Okay, sorry. I know we
And
like
whenever I look at the old photographs, like when I see my grandmother's old
yeah.
photographs, I'm so jealous about, what fashion meant to them at that
It's
time.
so true. So true. And sorry, I
Go ahead.
know we always say to keep this short to our guests, but I always have something to say. When you started with saying the 90s, 19 right there, I laughed because my daughter who's 11 always says she thinks the 1990s were the olden times. And I'm like, I grew up in the 90s. And she's like, Mom, it was 30 years ago. And I'm like, that's true. So now I'm like, it wasn't 1908, it's the 1960s. It wasn't that long ago. But sorry, I
Yeah,
just
it
made
really
me
wasn't.
chuckle, but I love that answer. Sorry.
Um, Aditi, if you were to have dinner date with, let's say, Jamie Oliver or Gordon Ramsay or Salt Bay, or whoever inspires you, who would you like to have dinner with that we know in the restaurant
Roger
industry?
Federer. Roger Federer. I wanted to be a tennis player before I was a banker.
He's making money now with the odds, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, they're great.
I live in on.
Got
Break
it.
the mold. You could still do it. Okay, I see.
Well, I have started playing again. I have started playing again.
You never know. You never know. I see a lot of books behind you. So my next question is, what is your favorite book? A book you recommend to people?
Or gift.
Steve Jobs.
That's a great one.
Actually, he's a huge inspiration for me,
Okay.
and like really being out of the box and breaking glass ceilings.
Which
Oh,
which book of Steve Jobs? The Walter Isaacson one?
yes,
Okay. He
Yeah,
wrote,
it's a great
this is
book.
his next book, Sabrina. Elon.
I
yes,
know, and you put the face like right next to you.
I
It's a
know.
little creepy.
Well, I'm sorry, Sabrina, but Elon Musk is our generation Steve Jobs.
Like, he's a genius, but well, no, even Steve Jobs was a little weird, a lot weird. But
Yeah.
that's a genius, right?
Yeah, he wasn't the greatest man
Yeah,
either.
No,
You
he
know,
wasn't the kindest man at all.
as he was dying, he went to India and did all this whole
Yeah.
meditation and got into the whole spirituality. But when he was making money, he was
Yeah.
a shark like
Yeah.
all the other
No, he was
sharks.
a
yeah.
jerk. Yeah.
But I think that but he was also so, crazy and eccentric. So, which is really,
It's true.
I think that
Yeah.
part of,
Yeah, which
yeah,
which is what which is what we're seeing with Elon Musk.
Yeah, it's true.
yeah,
From a scientist genius to now an obnoxious prick, like
Yeah.
and the only difference is now he has more billions than before, and more influence, right, with Twitter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, today's about Aditi, not about Elon Musk, Sabrina.
Go. Go. Our short
Yeah.
answers are never short. Go.
Maybe Aditi will have more money than Elon Musk and more influence, but maybe let's just focus on what we've got today. Okay. Uh, who is your celebrity crush other than Roger Federer?
Tom Cruise.
Oh,
You know what? He could be mine as well. You know, I mean, come on, he's everybody's.
no.
Him. You don't
He
like
did
Tom Cruise,
make a
Sabrina?
comeback in Top Gun, like the remake, or I guess part
Yeah.
two.
Have you seen
He made a
and
comeback
have
for
you
me.
seen have you seen the new Mission Impossible?
No, I stopped watching
Yeah,
those.
that
Is
was
he like
excellent.
amazing in it?
Excellent.
He's so
Okay.
amazing. Like he just hasn't aged.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
he's aged well,
But
very
Shah
well.
Rukh Khan hasn't aged in
Yeah,
his Bollywood movies.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
true.
That's
True.
true.
Who's cooler than Tom Cruise, Sabrina? Like Tom Hanks, Leo, or Brad Pitt, or George Clooney? None
Oh,
of them.
come on. Brad Pitt is like
Brad
he's
Pitt.
got swag like forever.
Yeah, I love Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know where we went to this, but Sabrina,
Okay.
our
Okay.
male crushes are coming on.
You have a New York Times billboard, right? And you can draw something or write a phrase that is your legacy. What would you do? What would it be?
Oh my God,
Good one.
that's a good
Take your
one.
time. Take your time.
Uh,
Eat more.
oh my God, that's hard. That's hard.
Break the mold.
Let's come back to this. Let me think about
Actually,
it. We come back
actually,
to this
Aditi, that is the
answer.
last question for today. I'm not even joking.
It's true. We end with the tough one.
We end with this one because
Oh my God.
normally people say something like, if you're Nike, you would say just do it. People would say what their legacy is, and it's a it's a it's an interesting one. So you can take a minute. We have, but we need
I
an
have
Oh
answer.
two
my God, this
ideas.
is hard.
Either break the mold or be a Michelin star.
Sabrina, I want Aditi's answer.
No, that's
That's
lame. That's
lame.
lame.
Yeah,
I'm
that's an American Texas answer for you.
yeah.
In the
No,
meantime,
I think
while you're thinking, Aditi, what do you think as an Indian of Americans?
What?
What do Aditi? What is your impression of Americans?
of Indian Americans.
Let's go there. What do you think of Indian Americans? Vivek Ramaswamy, Trump,
Aditi, if
Biden?
you say
No,
lame,
no. I want Sabrina to hear what India thinks of America
I
today.
am
No,
interested.
I just feel what I think of Americans is that they know so little about the world. You know, it's literally like they live in this bubble and they really don't know much of what's going on in the
Not just
world.
geographically. You're talking about everything.
It's
Yeah.
everything, everything. They're so,
I,
they're so oblivious to anything that's happening but their little
I'm
bubble.
you
Sabrina.
know
I'm
what?
not laughing. I mean,
I'm
I hear
not
that from everybody.
because your question to her, having you answer that actually made me a little nervous. And I will tell you, I mean, I respectfully disagree with that, but then I can also see how the rest of the world would think that of us because I think there's an arrogance, right? There's an arrogance to,
It's not about an arrogance. It's just that, like, they
Lack
just
of interest.
lack of interest, or like America is everything for them.
I don't even know what to say in response. And I'm
No,
not
I
even
I mean
offended,
cruise.
but
We
it's
were
an
on a cruise
opinion that
couple
a
of
lot of
years
people have.
ago.
Yeah, and I thought this would help Aditi come up with her answer on the New York Times board by shifting the angle to Indian Americans.
Oh my God, this that New York Times answers is really tough. Uh, I think something to do with courage. I would say that you know,
If it helps, Sabrina and I don't have an answer yet. We're 40 episodes down.
Oh, I've
We
never
asked
thought about it.
we asked this question to all our guests, and Sabrina and I have never had the guts to answer it as well. So, Sabrina, we should.
no, I think it's that. I think. I mean, I'm not really saying your billboard answer is yet, but what I wanted to get to is that I think that people are so scared to be courageous And I think that, you know, for me, when something, like when I'm fearful of something, that really makes me want to take the leap even
Yeah.
more.
Guts, grit.
Guts.
Yeah.
Grit. Grit and guts
I like that.
is my New York Times
I
billboard.
like that.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's mine, but okay, Aditi and Amit's answer is the same.
I've stolen it. I've stolen
I
it.
was
Grit
I
and
was going to
guts.
say be yourself, but anyway. Okay, Aditi, awesome to meet you,
Yes.
and I will be returning to Mask now that I know that I didn't know that you change the menu every 3 4 months, so that's awesome. And I hope you open Mask around the world, and
Me
And you know
too.
the duck
yeah,
sausage, the vegetarian one is jackfruit sausage, and for me, like that's like my die-hard
Oh,
favorite
wow.
dish.
did I have vegetarian or was it a regular duck sausage? I don't even know, but it tasted great.
No, but were you eating a
Yeah,
non-vegetarian
non veg,
tasting?
non veg. Yeah.
Yeah, so then you had the
Oh,
duck
so they had both.
sausage.
Wow. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving us your time. Wonderful to spread the word on your restaurant to our audience. And my favorite moment was your answer about what you think of Indian Americans. So, sort of point that out. It's just I wanted Sabrina, an Indian American, to hear that because when I said I come across as obnoxious and arrogant, but when somebody like you says it, it just becomes the truth. So I'll leave it at that. And Sabrina, I don't know if
Sorry,
no,
guys.
it's the
Don't be
perfect
sorry.
it's the
Don't be sorry.
perfect
I
answer.
already knew there was this opinion of Indians in America, but I actually thought it was more about an arrogance. But, you
I
know,
thought it was all Americans. I would remove the word Indian from Americans. I would just thought it
that's
was all
true. It is all
Americans.
Americans. Yeah.
Yeah. Sabrina, I don't know if you want to say a few words before we leave.
I do. I do. I honestly think you're inspiring. And when I asked you that question about what was your mindset, I didn't expect that. And that to me, that's inspirational. So thank you so much for being here. And I hope to make it to India to your restaurant
You have to.
before
You
you
have to
open one in
come.
the US.
Sabrina,
So,
I recommend
Yes.
the Gateway.
But we're gonna be cooking in New York in June. You should make it
you
there.
know what? Send us the information. If I can make it, I would love
Yes,
to.
I
I
will.
would love to.
I'm there in September, not June. Anyway,
Sabrina, where are you
I'm in San
based?
Antonio, Texas.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
but we love going to New York, especially in the summer. So you never know. Maybe we'll
if
show
you
up.
if you
Get
open
ready
up in
for us
Texas,
Americans.
if you open up in Texas, you'll be Aditi. You can open up in Texas in between Applebee's and Denny's.
Oh my God. For real. Thank you,
my
Aditi.
my aunt stays in Texas, so I have an easy partner to
Oh,
run it
where
there.
in Texas is she?
She's in
And also,
Austin.
oh, okay, I'm about an hour away from her.
It's
All
hard to say
right.
bye to
Okay.
Aditi, yeah, Sabrina?
I know. This is a good laugh. Thank you.
No, but it was really fun chatting with you guys. Thanks, Amit. Thanks, Sabrina. And thank you for adjusting to all my rescheduling. And I'm glad we finally did
No
this.
problem. That's what happens with a successful person.
No,
So
with celebrity restaurant owners.
yes. Thank you so much. And everyone, this has been a great episode, at least to us. And we know you will find it great as well, of Indian Explorers. So please hit the subscribe button and share it with others. Thanks,
Ciao,
everyone.
ciao, ciao.